For today's video, I thought I would show you the end result before walking you through the do-it-yourself process and all the materials and tools that you are going to need. One of the properties that I hunt, the landowner wants to switch from electronic feeders to these drop style feeders, and he got onto Amazon and he found these Boss Buck drop feeders have a lot of good reviews. But the problem is that this is very proprietary to Boss Buck feeders. If you had a Boss Buck feeder, there's actually a flange that comes down where all you do is attach that to it and you are good to go. But the issue is we have got 50-gallon feeders here that are steel that don't have a way of attaching this onto here. So I went to Home Depot, and luckily the guy that was there has done this exact same project. And I got on YouTube and tried to see what people have done, and I haven't seen anyone do this type of modification. And I really like the way that this is done. All you basically need is a 3-inch toilet flange, and this is what it will look like here. All right, it does come with that part in there, and you'll have to hammer that out. And then don't fall on my coffee, please. And it still allows you, with this 3-inch flange and the way that this sets up, it still allows you the motion here to control how much feed you want to drop. And so the materials that you're going to need, obviously, is the flange itself. You're going to need some coarse nuts, some washers. I'm using 1-inch screws. He used 3/4 inch, and his 3/4 inch would have worked just fine. Some lock washers or lock nuts, and some steel nuts in order to attach that to your feeder. And other tools that you're going to need, obviously, are some kind of a drill, and I'll show you all of the process on how to make that happen. Step 1, knock out the center part of this flange here, and you hit these little corners, and it should pop right on out of there. Just like that. Freaked out my dog. Step 2 is to take the tube and drop the flange that you just knocked out and get you a marker and indicate how much of material you need to remove, which is here. That's basically about 1 inch wide. It's not really rocket science, but make sure you're semi-centered. Just need to remove some of that material there. Next, if you have a grinder, this will come in really handy. If you don't have a grinder, just get you a metal file and start grinding that down. You really doesn't need to remove a lot of material, but just enough to where it'll line up, and I'll show you what I mean by there. I realized I didn't explain the purpose in doing that. If you don't cut that out, this is what's going to happen. There's a lot of wiggle room in your flange there against the tube, but when you cut it out, it runs completely flush right there. Good to go. If you look real carefully, it's not concentric and doesn't line up completely. You have 2 options at this point. You can try to find the right vacuum, and this is what the gentleman at Home Depot did, is he found the right vacuum belt that'll fit on here, and he wrapped it around there, and then he smashed it up into that side, and there was no play. My method of solving the problem is basically getting Gorilla Tape and putting it on here, and that's what I'm going to show you now. And basically, you're going to need 2 layers on this side and then 2 layers on this side. And just like that, no wiggle, and it's sealed. Next, take the tube that is on the Boss Buck. You can see there are nuts only on one side. What you're going to do is drill a 1/2-inch hole inside of here and also into your flange at the exact same time. And you're going to measure that at exactly 1 1/16 inch. And if you don't know what that is, take the ruler. Hopefully you can see this. There's the 1-inch line. It's the second dot. That one's 1/8. That one's 1/16 where my fingernail is. So you're going to measure that deep in on the tube. Let me do that real quickly. And this point will literally get you halfway down on the flange, which gives you a lot of pressure, okay? And do the exact same thing on the opposite side. And what I like to do is put a big fat X on it, right in the middle. There, and there. And that's where I'm gonna drill. All right, and so all you do is attach your flange back onto here. It's just such a good fit. And you're gonna drill 1/2-inch hole right there. This next step is kind of a pain in the patootie, but there's no way you're going to be able to get your coarse nut onto that hard plastic because it'll basically rip right through it. So what you need to do is basically take these spikes and bend them back to about 1/8 of an inch to where there's still enough bite into the plastic, but not enough to where it's going to break it. And let me just do this real quickly and show you what 1/8 kind of looks like. You got to be careful because you can break these off of here. See the way that gap is right there? That's about as much gap as you need. And do that to all 4 of these. And here's the end result. I want them to look something like this. All right, grab your bolt and your nut. And you're gonna have to what I call reverse hex these. The only way to really do that is to basically start getting it onto there. This is a lock washer, by the way, and I would highly advise you using that because this will be outdoors in the elements. And all I'm gonna do is get it started to where it breaks through that hard plastic on the top. And I do have a socket set at in the room, but I'm just being lazy right now.
By the way, 11 millimeters is the same thing as a 1/4 inch, roughly. It's not exactly the same.
All right, once it breaks through, you're just gonna do the reverse threading. And just reverse thread that back onto there. There you go. And you're gonna wanna go about almost 3/4 of the way up. Next step is to take the bolt with the nut that you just threaded on there, reverse, grab your washer, and what you're wanting to eyeball, run it through here. You want that bolt, and I don't know if you can see it from this angle, to basically run flush right to that point there. And I'm too shallow right now, so let me go ahead and drop this a little bit more. All right, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Let me just try the other one. Yeah, that is basically just about flush with the outside of the diameter of that tube. Next, what you want to do is to take your coarse nut that is here and go ahead and start threading that onto there. All right. And I would go ahead and do the other side too before you start really cinching it down some. And now what you're wanting to do is to make sure that that bolt does not go beyond the lock or the coarse nut here. And you do that by basically tightening the primary bolt first and then really cinching it down. Oops, I forgot the washer on that one. Start with your primary bolt before you start working on your threaded nut that's here. And what you don't want to have is that bolt extrude beyond here because it won't allow the tube to move up and down to control the feed. Just a quick note, you can see that it's still running a little bit shy right here. So what I'm actually gonna do is turn the primary bolt in so it will push it out a little bit more because I wanna make sure I've got enough bite to where if coons decide to have a play day with this, they're not gonna absolutely destroy it. See, it's moving the whole unit, or moving the whole bolt there. Hopefully you can see that. I'll go slow. See that rotation? All right, and then I'm gonna cinch it up again by tightening the threaded nut. All right, let me go to that one. And the final step is to take the drop tube and insert the flange you were just working on. And if this doesn't work, I'm gonna look really dumb. I look dumb anyways, just kidding. I like myself a lot. Oh gosh, please tell me, oh there it is, good. See, it allows it to still function. Woot woot, 2 more to do.